So when the user clicks on delete button, what should happen is a message should be displayed over here on the screen so as to have a confirmation from the user that they really want to delete the record, because it is a possibility that they clicked on it by mistake and we don't want to just directly delete the record. We want to confirm from the user that they are trying to delete this particular record. Okay, so let us now add the functionality of this button. What do we want to do? In the HTML file, on the delete button click, we want to call a function. Whenever this function is clicked, we want to open confirm dialog. This function can be called, and over here we'll define the function. So which dialog box will it open now? For that, what we'll do is we'll create a new component, and in the dialog box we are going to utilize the model feature of ng bootstrap. So let us just stop the execution for now and create a new component that can be named dialog box, because I want to keep the HTML structure separate from this particular component. That is why we are creating a dialog box component that could be utilized at multiple places according to the HTML structure that we have. Okay, the HTML structure would go over here, but we have to install the ng bootstrap as well. So let us install ng bootstrap for this, and this is the particular command that we are going to use. So over here we are doing a save with legacy peers depths. It is because we want to eliminate any risk of conflicts that might arise due to peer dependency that ng bootstrap would have. And also we require another installation for this, that is for popper.js/core. After we have installed both of them, we'll be using the HTML template that I have already referenced from the ng bootstrap documentation over here in this component.html file and save it. Now we want to open it from here. Is that correct? From open confirm dialog. So for that we'll be using model service. We are going to inject model service using the ng b model, and you see that the import is automatically done through IntelliSense. I'll save the changes. We are going to utilize this model service to open the model, and in the function we have to pass the content that we want to open. So this is going to be the dialog box component, and once we just mention it over here, it is automatically imported as well. I'll save the changes over here, and in the dialog box component what we have to do is import ngb active model from ng bootstrap, and then there is a function that we have called while we are clicking on OK. So let me just give it the name confirm over here, and this function we'll just mention here. Over here we don't need to perform any function, but we do need to close the model. So for that, what we'll be doing is on the confirm button, on the confirm function that is being called from here, we'll just have a model dot close. So rather than directly closing it over here like this, we are closing it in the TS file because later on we might need to add some functionality in this particular function. So let's just go to the browser now, and over here we click on delete. So you see the model is opening. We have a dialog box for the confirmation of deletion. So this is working perfectly fine. Now how do we delete the data that is selected? It's not selected through a checkbox. We are directly clicking on the button of a particular record. So how do I make sure that that particular record is deleted? So we'll need to pass the product ID, correct? The product ID that we have over here, we'll need to pass it. Okay, and we see that this product ID is the product name. So let us just change that also in the inventory.component.html. The product ID is the hash that we have over here, and this is the product name. So you see, as you keep on making the changes, you are able to see what perfections you can make to your application, right? So this is the product ID that we need to pass to the dotnetcore web API. When I click on delete, this particular record should be passed to the web API, this 2131. And how do I do that? I come over here. We already have the inventory.product ID, right? That is being displayed. So we can simply take this and pass it on this function. Why I am doing this? Because when we are opening the confirmation dialog box, a record should be made. There should be a record of which product ID I had clicked on, which product ID's delete button I had clicked on. So for that, I'm passing the inventory.product ID as well from here, and I have to capture it. Okay, it's not going to be int like in the .NET. It's going to be like this. And this product ID can be maintained over here. Let me give it product ID to delete so as to clarify what is the use of this particular variable. Now, as soon as I'm passing the product ID from the HTML page to this function, I want to keep a record of it. So when I'm opening the model service, what should happen is the product ID to delete should be set as product ID that is passed from the HTML page. I click on save. Now, once I have saved it, let us just confirm if it is working all fine. Once I have made a record of which product ID is getting deleted. So we can do a console log as well. I come over here, do an inspect, go to console window. I click on delete. So you see, we are getting the product ID 2131, and this is going to be passed to the backend API to be deleted. Now it should only be deleted once I click on OK. If I click on cancel, it should not be deleted. Am I right? So for that, what we'll do is we'll make a record of what is being sent from this dialog box. So how do we do that? In this particular dialog box, once we are closing the dialog box, and we are only closing it on the confirm function, and the confirm function is only called on the click of OK. When we are clicking on cancel, model.dismiss, that is directly called from here, and we are not confirming anything. So on the click on confirm only, we are performing this particular function, and from here we want to pass some result. That result would be, let's say, confirm. This is the result that we are passing from the OK button click. I'll save it, and we need to capture this result as well. So how do we do that? Over here we have to capture the result. Once we have got the result, I want to perform some action. What kind of action am I performing? I'm going to delete the data. So how do I do that? But the question is not how. There should be a condition that once we have got the result, we are checking also that the result is what we had expected. So if data that we are taking from the result, this data is being passed from here. If the data that we are getting in the result and the property of the data, that is event, as I have mentioned here, its value is equal to confirm. So only if the property of the event is equal to confirm, then something should happen. So let's do a console log over here as well. Confirmed to delete, else delete not required. So I saved it, and let's click on OK. So you see, this is being sent from the dialog box. Event is confirmed. And that is how we are able to get into this condition, and it says confirm to delete. Also, now that we think of it, it will never go to the else condition. Why? Because we are not sending any other data, any other result from here. So this particular condition would not be even satisfied, because we have only called confirm functionality from the OK button, and that is sending this particular response. So it's never going to go into the else statement. So that is how we will be able to specify whatever we want to do when the event is equal to confirm. So now over here, what we want to do is we want to delete the inventory details. So this particular function, let's mention over here what we want to do in the delete functionality, and this is going to be a this dot delete inventory. In this particular function, we want to have the API URL that we'll take from here. Okay, let me just give some value as well, so that we are able to check the URL. Okay, so this is the URL of the request, and I want to pass it in the HTTP client delete function API URL, and then we could also utilize the HTTP options, or I think we can skip it for now because this is just a delete function. We want to subscribe to it. Whatever data we have got, we just want to do some action once we get the result. But before that, over here you see that this is a static value that is being passed in the URL, but we cannot pass the static value. We have to pass whichever row was selected for the deletion from here. So how do we do that? We are already saving it in this particular variable, so we'll utilize this variable, and because this is under the class scope and not just the function scope, we can directly use it over here. So whatever value is set over here, when this function is called delete inventory, we'll be able to utilize the value in this URL. Okay, so now once we are able to delete the data successfully, after that what we want to do is get the refresh table from the database. So we had created a function earlier, that is what we will be utilizing over here, and this particular function will be called once the data is successfully deleted. So let me just save the changes, and we'll go to the browser now. Okay, I click on delete for this particular record. It says, are you sure you want to delete it? I click on OK, and you see that the event was confirmed, the data is deleted, new refresh data we have got from the database as well. That means the delete functionality is also working fine. If I just add something over here, I click on submit, this is deleted, and now I click on delete, this is also working fine. If I click on submit, let me just click on submit again, add a new row, click on delete and click on cancel. So you see that nothing is happening. If we click on cancel, it's only deleting once I click on OK. So this is how we have integrated the dialog model from ng Bootstrap into our application, created the delete functionality with end-to-end flow from Angular to .NET Core Web API till SQL, and all of the data is being refreshed on the go only.